If you thought the Chargers' week would be quiet, buckle up. There's backroom buzz, a bold decision to protect Herbert, an unexpected move on offense, and a rumor that could flip the season script. No spoilers yet, but one tweak could juice the play action, another could reshape the backfield, and heavy hitters are watching Los Angeles. What would you do today if you had a shot to change everything before the deadline? You won't believe what we've got, so get comfy, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. You know that uneasy silence when the phone's ringing behind the scenes? Yeah, it came from Costa Mesa. The staff put the offense under a microscope and saw a clear pattern. When play action opens windows, there isn't a target attacking the seams with authority, finishing crossers, and commanding respect in the red zone. The perfect fit isn't in the draft, isn't a one-month rental, and currently plays in the NFC South. A physical hybrid who can line up in the slot and in heavy sets, the kind of player who changes how defenses align. If that sounds like the missing piece to unlock Greg Roman's plan, you're not alone. We're talking about Juwan Johnson of the Saints. New Orleans opening weeks nosedived, and when a team starts 0-4, offers for veterans get a real hearing. Johnson began as a wideout, but has evolved into a modern tight end. He separates on over and drag routes, blocks well enough to mask tendencies, and becomes a magnet near the goal line. In Los Angeles, that means multiplying 12 personnel looks, bringing bootlegs to life, and forcing defenses to choose between sealing the edge against the run or protecting the middle of the field. And the clock is ticking. The trade deadline is November 4 at 4 p.m. ET. But what's the cost? Here's where the craft comes in. Historically, tight ends in this tier go for day 3 picks with conditionals for snaps and playoffs. Johnson's 3-year deal signed in March is heavy on guarantees, but the structure allows a trade if salary/bonus sharing is smart. It's classic cap engineering. The seller eats part of the cash, the buyer lowers the pick price, and both preserve flexibility into 2026. For the Chargers, it's the kind of calculated risk that avoids an 8-game rental and adds real value to the offensive core. On the field, the chemistry almost writes itself. Will Dissly handles the traditional Y role, anchoring the edge and fitting the power run. Johnson slides into the F spot, stressing the intermediate zones, hitting deep crossers, and becoming that third down safety valve that keeps drives alive while Justin Herbert buys time on the boot. In heavy play action, the run threat tugs the safety. Johnson finds the window behind the hook defender and punishes it. That's the kind of play that changes a series, the clock, and often the scoreline. And the fan base, split. One side wants immediate help on the OL, the other sees the right tight end as the multiplier that actually makes life easier for the line and the quarterback. Reactions are already popping. You can't pay up for a TE versus finally, someone who fixes the red zone. So would you spend a conditional 6th for 2 years of control and real upside inside the 20? I would, if New Orleans shares costs and adds performance triggers. There's enough smoke here to track daily until the deadline. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. If the Johnson rumor already has fans buzzing, what do we say about the Chargers' offensive line? That's the thing keeping everyone up at night, and with good reason. The loss to the Giants wasn't just a smudge on a 3-1 start, it was a blaring siren. Justin Herbert's protection unit is crumbling. Rookie Joe Alt left with an ankle sprain and is already set to miss the next game. As if that weren't enough, what was fragile turned into a house of cards. The storm began before the season. Rashawn Slater, the pillar of this OL, lost the year with injury. The immediate response was improvisation, but every piece that falls triggers a domino effect. Mikael Becton missed time recently. Trey Pipkins hasn't shown the consistency needed when asked to shoulder more. And Zion Johnson, expected to be a steady presence inside, hasn't delivered. It's the perfect storm no franchise wants. Enter a name as a potential stopgap, Andre James, an experienced center with 4 seasons starting for the Raiders, a player who's faced elite defenses in the AFC West. He's not the prototypical anchor, not a cure-all overnight, but in this current disaster, he could be the difference between total chaos and giving Herbert a fighting chance. The problem is the current starter, Bradley Bozeman, is being graded among the league's worst centers so far. He's struggled in pass pro, struggled in the run game, and the confidence just isn't there. When the line doesn't have a stable center, the pocket becomes a war zone. So the question isn't whether James is a hero, it's whether he's enough to bridge the gap until starters return. It's a risky move. James is coming off a rough year in Las Vegas that ended with him replaced. But even so, his experience puts him a step ahead of Bozeman right now. It's the classic dilemma: bet on the veteran who's shown stability before, or keep insisting on a player who's left the offense defenseless. For many fans, the answer is obvious. You can't keep watching Herbert face pressure in under 2 seconds on nearly every snap. What's most telling is the signal it sends. The Chargers look like they've hit the ceiling on improvisation. If they really swap Bozeman for James, it's an admission that internal fixes fell short, and any improvement, even a small one, is vital to save the season. The schedule won't wait, the AFC West won't forgive, and your franchise quarterback can't play under constant siege. So here's the question no one can ignore. Is this change enough to keep the Chargers competitive, or are we just slapping a bandage on a wound that needs surgery? And while we try to digest this protection crisis around our franchise QB, an opportunity pops up that could turn the ground game into something far more dangerous. If it already felt heavy discussing the OL, imagine shifting the conversation to the backfield. The bright spot is rookie Omarion Hampton, who absolutely exploded last game with downhill power, sharp cuts, and veteran-level confidence. Every snap makes it clearer he's the future of the position for the Charger, but the problem is that everything behind him got shaky fast. Najee Harris tearing his Achilles was a gut punch and left the RB room exposed. Without the veteran, there's a lot more weight on the rookie's shoulder. Right now, Hampton is the headliner, with Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal filling out the rotation. Neither fully inspires confidence as Plan B. That's where the name Nick Chubb surfaces as a trade deadline target. Yes, that Nick Chubb who still commands respect for punishing runs between the tackles. He's wearing Texans colors this season, but with Houston sitting at 1-3 and leaning harder into youth, he could become a trade chip. The attention grabber is the suggested cost, a conditional 7th rounder. Cheap, very cheap, for a player with his resume. Why would this make sense in Los Angeles? First, because Greg Roman builds offenses around the run game. Over more than a decade as a play caller, his teams finished top 5 in rushing attempts 7 times. He loves volume with power, counter, read option, and inside zone variations. In this system, having someone who absorbs contact, drags defenders, and sustains long drives is essential. Hampton's already flashed in the passing game, but he can't be overworked this early. Bringing in Chubb gives him a mentor and at the same time a shield. Of course, there are fair questions. Chubb is on a 1-year deal, he's 29, and he's not the same explosive back he once was. But in a complementary role, splitting snaps, he could be exactly what's missing. Experience and physicality to steady the trenches while the rookie shines. And the low cost makes it a calculated risk. Picture a cold December game against defenses forcing heavy sets. You flex Hampton out on a route and let Chubb grind between the tackles. That balance might be the detail that keeps Herbert out of constant 3rd and 12s. Fans are already dreaming a little. Social comments range from "we don't need an aging vet" to "get him yesterday, at that price, he's a steal." That polarization is great for debate, but strategically the move makes a ton of sense. Hampton can't carry the piano alone, and if the Chargers truly believe they can contend in the AFC, they need to show depth now. If Houston bites on a symbolic pick, the front office has no excuse. The future may be in the rookie's hands, but the present needs immediate support. And if you think we've had enough twists already, hold on. There's still an improvised OL solution that could become the week's biggest controversy. The Chargers' offensive line headache added a new chapter with Joe Alt's injury. And if losing the rookie already felt devastating, the solution the staff is leaning toward will divide opinions. Instead of seeking external help, the idea is to bet on an in-house piece, Jean-Marie Sallier. Yes, the same player who's been shuffled across positions and now might be thrown into the fire at left tackle. At first glance, the numbers don't excite. His pass blocking grade this season sits in the 30s, brutal for any OL spot. But the Chargers have a recent memory that improvising can work. In 2022, when Rashawn Slater got hurt, Sallier moved over and delivered the best season of his career, posting a pass-blocking grade north of 75. That shows that in emergencies he can raise his game and hold the fort. The catch is that it all hinges on Mekhi Becton's health. If Becton is ready to reclaim the right side, Sallier can shift without opening another hole. If he isn't 100%, the decision becomes a cruel dilemma. Keep Sallier at guard and start Austin Diculus at tackle, a player who's already allowed 6 pressures in just 40 snaps, or risk the improv and hope the 2022 magic returns. Neither scenario is comfortable, but the second option seems to have more upside. Here's where the emotions spike. Some will see Sallier as the unlikely hero ready to save the day. Others will hammer the front office for not pursuing outside reinforcements, especially with the trade deadline looming. With every snap of Herbert running for his life, the debate only gets hotter. It's the kind of decision that can cost a season or, who knows, prove again that bold in-house moves can bear unexpected fruit. The reality is stark. There's no perfect exit. The Chargers are betting on the memory that Sallier held up once and might do it again. But the margin for error is tiny, and any slip can mean sacks, turnovers, and games slipping away. What looked like a simple replacement choice now mirrors the franchise's philosophy: risk from within instead of paying big outside. Whether that's enough to keep the 2025 dream alive, only the next few Sundays will tell. If we put everything together, the picture is crystal clear. A hybrid TE who can unlock play action, a switch at center to stop the bleeding, a veteran in the backfield to split the load with the rookie, and the bold bet on Sallier holding the edge until Alt returns. It's a package of decisions that defines ambition, identity, and the immediate future. Do you want aggression on the market or trust in internal development? Which move is the priority and why? Drop your take, challenge my projections, and let's heat up the comments. Like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share it with another fan.